there's also missing things in there that doesn't display their clinical reasoning.
Yes.
Which can't be backed in court as well.
Today I've got with me Barry Nguyen, physiotherapist, practice owner, entrepreneur, and now someone who's participating in the AI race with his new business. It's not actually that new. It's been around for a few years. It's probably one of the oldest businesses in the space, Cliniscribe. Welcome, Barry. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Shane.
We've obviously caught up a few times in recent times because I've been so super interested in what you're doing with Cliniscribe. But before we go there, I just wanted to get a bit of background for you for our viewers. Where have you been before? You know, I know you've been in physio for a very long time.
Yep. Okay, so I'm a graduate of the University of Melbourne. I graduated in 2005. My first mentors was John Ford at Life Care.
Nice. Yeah.
I was working in St. Albans, dealing with work cover compensable patients. Went through his functional restoration program, all that type of stuff. But then in about like a year later, I realized I wanted to go on my own.
Yeah.
I was renting from a medical center. I started off as a percentage, like many of us do. And then they started charging exorbitant premiums on the medical clinic in St Kilda.
Yeah, right.
And then I had to leave.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So that's how I started, really. And then I built my own clientele. And that's where I am. And that was I've been doing it, my own clinics for about 15 years now.
Yeah, wow, 15 years.
And I've been a physio for 20 years.
Yeah. Wow. So in the last 5 years, you've been doing some things that aren't very physio. You went off and trained as a software engineer.
Yeah, so COVID hit, the famous Melbourne lockdown happened. 11 months, I couldn't practice anymore because I wasn't an essential service. And my practice was very hands-on. In fact, often people call me Digi-Baz, Digi-Barry.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be doing telehealth then? And in fact, I wasn't. My clients paid me to do manual treatment on them.
Yeah.
So I had to close off and I was like, oh, crap, like, what do I do now? And I was involved as a digital health advisor for the APA, the first one. We did the practice management software audit in 2017. So I thought maybe I did a master's in computer science. I started it anyway. The first unit was programming. And then it was actually a written programming exam.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was a dropout from a master's in computer science. And I got 94% in that coding unit, actually. And I was like, oh, I thought this was for 20-year-old Silicon Valley guys.
Yeah.
And then I was like, there's all this stuff on my social media about getting a software engineering job at the time because they couldn't bring people in the country from overseas. So I did a 5-month full-time bootcamp and became a software engineer and worked for a large $300 million ASX-listed SaaS company for 3 years, full-time as a software engineer, getting roasted by 20-year-old guys. Yeah. Just trying to learn. So I actually went from senior engineer to junior software engineer for 3 years.
That's some serious reps. When we talk about doing reps in business, like we talk about this with physios as well. Like you kind of have to do your first 2 or 3 years under somebody else and learn the core craft.
Yeah, and you've done that. I absolutely hate it because usually I'm the one roasting others, right?
Yeah.
As a senior, and I was like, this is my only chance. And the funny thing was, this is something I haven't told many people, but after the third year, we were probably getting paid more than a physio at that point. But the AI revolution hit. So they were getting rid of software engineers.
Yeah.
Do another reset at that point. All this stuff about displacing coders, which is possibly true, making things more efficient. So I was still running my practice on the side just to earn the income. And I've got a team there that helps me. And the first thing, I think 2023, ChatGPT came out. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is going to change our profession. So I was just trying to write, copying, pasting SOAP notes, the identified ones into chat and getting to write reports. And then I pitched that idea at the APA Pitch Fest 2023, became a finalist. And it wasn't a scribe at the time at all. And it didn't get any traction. And then I was like, all right, so let's continue to build this. And then eventually we became a scribe, which today is called Cliniscribe.
Yeah, nice. And when did Melbourne Uni pick you up? When did they decide this is something to take seriously?
This year, when I've shown traction, I've proven that the product, there is product market fit, meaning, and there's founder market fit. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. I'm not sure our viewers will. You can explain it if you want. Quick heads up, if you're enjoying this, Barry's offered a special deal exclusive to members of our Circle page. You'll get bonus onboarding support, behind the scenes updates, and direct feedback on implementing AI into your clinic. Just hit the link below to join, and we'll see you over on our Circle platform.
So product market fit is when your product fits with the market's needs, like specifically like physios in private practice, and then you're getting growth there. But founder market fit is where your background really is aligned to the market.
Yeah. If you're trying to introduce a product into a market which you've never even worked in.
Correct.
It's a little bit incongruent, isn't it? Yeah.
And what AI lends itself to now more than ever, as you understand, Shane, is prompt engineering, where you need deep domain expertise to get a good output from AI.
Yes, so that's such an important point, because I think this is one of the things people don't understand about AI. Because whenever I talk to people about AI, they go, yeah, but it makes stuff up.
Yeah, it makes stuff up because there's this concept called garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
If you put dumb stuff in there, it'll produce your dumb stuff. Regardless of whatever model, which Shane's using, some $300 subscription.
Yes.
It will still produce dumb results.
Yeah, exactly.
But the interesting thing at this moment in time is deep domain expertise gets you 10x results from using AI tools, which is a really key insight I'm finding now building this system out.
Yes. Yep. And to put it bluntly, what it means is if you take a small amount of information and put it into an AI, you just don't have, the AI doesn't have enough context. And the reality is you need to throw in as much information as possible. The more, the better, to give the AI the actual context and what you're after, with then some very specific prompts to get and extract the key information.
Correct. And I don't think that will ever change.
No.
This is the interesting point. So even if the AI reaches super intelligence, like an IQ beyond Einstein, we're still going to face that same issue. Like, it doesn't understand context.
Yeah.
Which is a key point to bring across to your audience.
Yeah, this is one of the things. One of the reasons I switched to the highly paid AI is because I would have multiple chats going at the same time. But then you actually find that these conversations start to blend together, and the context is lost as soon as you switch windows or you start a new chat. So the latest version of GPT allows some level of contextual understanding to continue going throughout, which I think is pretty amazing. Let's get across into physio land, because we had, I reckon it was about 3 months ago, we had a really, really good conversation about compliance in physiotherapy and note takers, because we all know that a lot of physios struggle to get their notes done on time. Some physios, people like you, me, and just about everyone else who's worked in private practice for 20 years, are terrible at getting their notes done. And we know that there are gaps that occur. We also know that some things that get written in clinical notes are often not an accurate reflection of what happened in the consult, simply because people have forgotten, or they haven't had the time to do it, or they've just left it out. They've just fundamentally left a key detail out. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I'm an older school physio like Shane. Have you seen the A/A notes before, Shane?
No. Tell me.
So the older physios generally get sloppy and sloppier. The initials start to get to about 6 lines. And then the work cover reviews, where they see 3 times a week as A/A, as above, as above, or ISQ. And to be frank, that's still happening in the community. And there's probably no benefit of those notes at all in court. So I'm seeing now where the younger physios write better notes, but there's also missing things in there that doesn't display their clinical reasoning.
Yes.
Which can't be backed in court as well.
Yes, this is something I've always been very on point with my clinicians, because I would look through their notes and I would always ask myself, can I see the reason behind why you've decided to do X intervention? Because if your notes don't tell me, I'm going to ask you. And if you can't tell me, we have some work to do together.
Yeah, and one of the big ones was red flags.
Yes.
Often physios lazily, I'm not going to say for all, I can't make a judgment on that. We'll just say quarter quinter symptoms, check. The question then becomes, did it truly happen? Was it just a reflex? And a big one these days, more so than when we started, Shane, is consent. Physios today need to be more cautious around what they do because we're a hands-on type of profession.
Yes.
And this is where I think it can be drastically improved in notes. At what point did you get informed consent? At what point did the patient decide after the third consult not to try dry needle again because they're just scared, or it's actually induced some kind of post-traumatic stress disorder or something like that in the past? So I think for us to uplift our profession, we need to be more mindful and have tools that actually monitor the performance of these compliance issues as well.
Yeah. And I think if we take even one step back and put on our owner hat, most owners aren't in their clinics, and if they are, they're treating. They're not really supervising what goes on. And you and I have both been business owners ourselves. We've had teams of 5, 6, maybe 10 people. Once it gets beyond 2 staff, you really can't have oversight of what's going on at a case-by-case level with your clinicians.
And you can tell me all you want about pitching how much CPD you're giving them and mentoring, but I find what they present you as a case is not actually what you really need to work on.
Yeah.
So I'm finding with my own tool that I developed, I'm using the raw transcript and mentoring them objectively, non-judgmental, what actually happened in the consult.
Exactly. Because the alternative, like we've all done it, we know we have to go in and see the patient with them. We know if we want to get the right information down pat proper, it's the best. And this is supported by evidence as well, like supervision or direct, shared consulting is the highest quality of evidence.
Yep.
I feel like this Scribe stuff is about as close to shared consulting as we can get without being in the room.
Yeah, I concur with you on that. I often find like physios in private practice, particularly junior ones, I hire a lot of them. They're not getting enough mentoring and they just leave on you because they're not getting that value. They want to observe you. They want you to sit in their room to give you extra tips.
Yeah.
All the non-verbals probably matter more than what's written in a SOAP note.
Yep.
And what I feel strongly and passionate about is that these AI scribes or around that area, realm of solutions, can augment a physio's mentoring capability as well. So
that's a really interesting important. That's a really interesting point. Now, I know there's a lot of people who will probably turn around and go, well, what do you mean? Is the AI going to be teaching the physio?
I didn't say that, did I? I said it can, and it can help you brainstorm. And I think it brainstorms better than any human possible, particularly with differential diagnosis.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's your brand. So the way you practice, the way you communicate is your brand or your clinic. And that will always be variable. I've seen it again and again, running my own Scribe company, that physios take notes in very different ways. Even the way they communicate is in very different ways. So I feel that this tool can be used as a base point, like a summary or fact sheet for the senior physio to mentor the junior or in group settings as well. And so I feel it can augment them. It's not a black and white answer there.
Yes.
You can use it like in that way if you want to, particularly for isolated clinicians who may feel like they're not clinically supported. I think AI is better than nothing.
Yes, exactly.
However, you can actually 10x your CPD culture and, continuous learning program and making sure everyone, is adhering to your values and systems and things through using AI as a tool and getting more non-judgmental results and not opportunistic where you just heard from the other room that the physio said something really random and then you pick them up and call them up like a cop. And that never works.
Yep.
So and in this way, you can aggregate all the data and go, hey, here's a report. The AI can give you data analytics on that, on whether you've actually followed up and booked an appointment with the patient. Is it a treatment plan during the raw transcript that you read with the patient? And I think it's been very powerful for my clinic in particular.
Yeah, you've made a really important point there, and I just want to pull you back. The follow-up. What is AI doing to help with that follow-up appointment? How are you helping to thread together that treatment plan?
Yeah, and often even myself, sometimes we don't do that. And I think AI can pick up these things where you start to get sloppy in your consult, and also understanding and reflecting on the reasons why patients are ghosting your clinic after the first consult. You should be comparing that with data of a successful case of a similar situation, and no one's doing this. They just think, oh no, he just didn't like, he liked to brush. I don't think you should be brushing off new patients, to be frank. It's so hard to get a new patient. It's much easier to grow from existing happy patients.
Yes.
Getting referrals from
the cost of acquisition is very high these days because there's a lot of competition.
Oh yeah, and we talked about it on Nick's group that even Health Vision, I think it's costing me and other clinics around $50-$60 per lead.
Yep.
And if you can't convert that, what's left? Treat every patient of highest value. You shouldn't be passing off the one-hit wonders like they're not going to potentially destroy your business, I feel. And that's my personal view as a practice owner. Everyone, to each to their own. But I think it's easier to look after patients that you've won over into your consult rooms than trying to create new ones, as negative reputation or word spreads quicker, like wildfire, faster than positivity or positive experiences with your clinic.
Yeah, nice. So what is, like, if I were to compare products, now we don't have to name any other brands, but if we compared some of the things that are out, some of the things that are out there, what's unique about Cliniscribe? Why should people use Cliniscribe rather than another generic or a cookie cutter transcription?
Right.
Or, ChatGPT.
I mean, that's a great point that I hear my competitor's name drop to me every single day. How are you different, Barry, right? For my investors too. So I feel strongly that if you invest in like a primarily medical customer-driven scribe, do you really feel that they're investing in allied health and in particular MSK or musculoskeletal?
Yeah, it's very different.
In terms of product development. This is a point I've heard from Shane, not myself. He goes, why are you putting money in other people's pockets, right? That really are prioritizing scale, speed. Why allied health? When you're coming to Cliniscribe, for example, I run a practice. I've got deep skin in the game.
You're using this product.
I'm using this product and my team's using this product. Yeah, so you'll hear a lot of feedback that Barry changes this product every single week as he hears feedback. So it's very much tuned towards an MSK private practice. I can't say much for anything else because these type of issues I'm talking about around drop-offs are all related to MSK, clinical practice in private practice.
Yeah.
And if you're selling to a hospital, do you really need to look at drop-off risk?
No, they want people to drop off. That's good for business in a hospital. Look, we're trying to get people to leave and not return.
Yeah, and I think Shane pointed out to me that our product here is geared towards affordability for private practitioners. So we're really targeted at SMEs. We're not targeted at medical specialists that make 50K plus per year. And you're not getting a cheaper product. You're getting something that's more modular and lean and specific to what you need, and as well as the support. So we're building a community around this in Slack. And I feel it is becoming more than a scribe with my post consult chatbot there that can save time. But it's really to uplift the value of a consult in rooms. And secondly, we're all here, including myself and Shane. AI is moving very fast, faster than we can even take a breath. And we're building a community of like-minded practice owners. And you may not be profitable at the moment, you might not even be sustainable with business, but aligned with the best in the business to build clinics and leverage AI for clinical excellence, but commercial excellence as well. And that's where I feel our value is different in that sense.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of value propositions being thrown in here because we've got, obviously there's medico-legal risk, which we've talked about. We've talked about improving the quality of the clinician themselves. We haven't actually talked about one of the core promises, which is simply that a scribe just cuts down time spent, sitting at the computer, how that affects burnout, the task switching that occurs between you see your patient, you do your notes, you go out to the waiting room, you see your patient, you do your notes, you go out to the waiting room. That becoming a bit more humanized and a nicer flow to it. We haven't actually talked about what I think the biggest return on investment is that if we're able to reduce the administrative time down, that is literally more time to see patients. That is, generally speaking, most clinics now block time for admin. This is exactly why we set up the Culture of One Circle page, by the way, because no one's talking about the operational reality of running a clinic in this AI era. Barry's jumped in to give Circle members a special deal on Cliniscribe, plus support on how to set it up inside your business. If you want to implement this and not just talk about it, join the Circle community via the link below. Hope to see you in there.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, most clinics do. I think the average is probably 2 hours a week because clinicians find that they fall behind on their
And
notes.
do they pay for that, Shane?
Yeah.
Do they pay for those hours to do notes?
Yeah. I don't recommend people do it, but I also recommend people do what their staff request if they keep requesting it, because otherwise they will leave.
Very interesting. So my practitioners are very happy with that. We don't have that issue.
Yeah.
So they can really focus on learning and just seeing patients, which is what they signed up to.
Yeah.
And our pre-consult to actually remove some of the repetitive questions, I find. Patients often say at my clinic, so we're an average 148 5-star Google review, just for context. How we did it, you might ask. No, we didn't, pay a farm overseas to write those 5-star reviews. But we're very focused on customer experience. And one of the key bugbears I have is when my physios talk so much during the consult, do so much education. They're paying $120 for the initial consult or whatever. And the patient feels they only got 5 minutes of treatment. And there's a lot of factors there, right? But our pre-consult tool will take all that information before so that you can actually focus on what matters to the patient, not yourself, in the consult. And the Scribe also enables post-consult summaries, which means you're held absolutely accountable for all those things you've said in the consult. On top of that, it grabs a lot of social history, like your favorite footy team, etc., that often matter a lot to the patient.
Yeah, so we're getting a personalized client experience.
Yeah, which school they went to, which church they went to, what cricket team they go for, what values they have, which I feel is possibly that that little icing on the cake that really makes them feel in the next session they're very valued.
Yes.
I think it's more than just admin, which can do very well, but also all those little touches that makes physio human.
Exactly. There's nothing more frustrating for a patient than feeling like they've just been given a cookie cutter based plan, the same plan that everybody gets. And you're told, the typical, dare I say, the chiro plan, come back 3 times a week for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And this system enables you to generate a quick treatment plan right afterwards, your differentials. So that if they don't get better, you've already got a plan of what you need to do, for example, imaging or escalating to certain things. And you can explain, sometimes you often explain, if this doesn't work, I'm going to try this treatment modality.
Yeah.
And all that is captured in the notes. So it's not an afterthought when they've stopped coming after they've ghosted you. Like, no, come back in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to try dry needling now. But I'm not going to believe you because they're going to feel like you're a salesman.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to upsell them something that you really stuffed up on in the initial session. In this way, you're held accountable initially for whatever you said in that consult, which I think gives the physio and the patient a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah, really, really interesting stuff. Where do you see the future going with this? Because this is the now. What we're talking about is what Cliniscribe does right now. Where do you see the future going?
That's a very good question, and I have a very biased view to that. I feel that Cliniscribe will. So we've got CliniFlow, which is the chatbot, the pre and post consult intake. So it does it. The future is it'll be hybrid. So it will check up exercises, it'll grab outcome measures, etc. Give you feedback outside the consult. It can also do live video feedback. So I think there'll be a hybrid model moving forward. And I think the AI will do that. So that's in CliniFlow. But ultimately, I feel Clinity-based, which is our overarching vision, is an ambient, meaning invisible operating system. No UI, so you don't have to click on crap. That will do all the background work for you so that you can actually be a physio.
Yes.
That's the pitch. So where you don't have to click on things, you don't have to open up windows. It's literally something just listens in with cameras, with sensors, or whatever else you use. And it just does all the work for you. So physios can do what they want, enabling solo practitioners to work with no admin, or 10 or 20 scaled clinics in that sense too. And the patients will get so much value from remote monitoring, telehealthcare, plus in face-to-face consults when it's required to. And everything around it will be automated, which I think the technology is already there that can do that. It's just more of a matter of building it out in that way. So I feel the future of allied health is very strong, given that we're a very physical profession. I'm also very biased towards, I feel physios are losing their hands-on skills to manual skills. And I think that's the only thing that will probably hold us together, to be frank, over the osteopaths and chiros in this new world of AI, because AI can't do that. So I feel we're in this opportunity of becoming very, you know what I mean? Like our DNA of being hands-on from the massage type of DNA, come back and do our best work and grow massive clinics, particularly in the MSK space, if we play this game right as a profession.
Yes, that's really interesting. That's really, really interesting. Now, there's a few things you mentioned, like when we're going to the future, and we've kind of glossed over this, but a lot of people want to know, is this technology, even as it is now, is it actually compliant? Is it legal to record consults?
Very good question. It's commonly used in GP clinics now, actually, the scribes. So it's very critical that you explicitly consent every session.
Yes.
It is only legal. You can't go to ChatGPT and use the voice, which I know there's some people doing that too, legally. But with health data, it needs to be stored in Australia, and it needs to have the general compliance matters sorted, associated with the Australian Privacy Act, as well as some healthcare ethics around that. And there's stuff from APRA guidelines that are published around using AI scribes in particular that you can have a look at. And then the other point I'd like to make in terms of compliance is, if it's writing crazy notes, is it representative of the actual consult?
Yes.
Doesn't make sense. Is it you or is it the AI working for you? So it's really important that you manage that balance, that it shouldn't be automatic. You should check it and edit, which I also seeing an increasing trend. Given the accuracy of such systems, that's about 95% there. Physios just submit it at the 95% mark.
Yeah.
So they're the key things. So consent, making sure the data is stored in Australia, security measures. If you're going to use things, make sure you ask them. Even on chat, it's okay to say, hey, can I de-identify your notes? I'm struggling with this. I just need to brainstorm it, using an AI tool. But you need to tell them what you're doing with it. They need to be well informed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend that in general, but hopefully you get my point that the scribe itself is safe. But I think in the future, patients will expect you to use an AI tool, and if you don't, you'll be behind.
It's funny how things change that quickly, isn't it? Because, I feel like we're at a time which is very similar to when search engines started coming about. And, 2 years after you saw your first search engine, like this was not where you spent most of your day. But that quickly changed as technology changed as well. And as we went to handheld and mobile and the iPhone, all of a sudden the entire world revolutionized around the internet.
Yeah, and it's important that you get your facts straight these days. People are using ChatGPT. The next generation do use it.
So what's the next step? If people want to get Cliniscribe, or they want to explore how they can work with you, or they want to really hear more about the future, what can they do?
So that's a good question. They can have a look at our YouTube channel at Cliniscribe, I think, AI. They can just go to cliniscribe.com.au and either subscribe to a 7-day free trial, no obligation, or just ask for a free demo with me. I'm more than willing to help.
So they can just basically click and start using it today.
Even if you're already using a scribe, just having a look and keeping an eye out in the market about how things are evolving is probably important, just as important.
Yeah.
In particular, I'm going to write a next white paper on subscription fatigue and how a lot of physios are spending on a lot of things.
Yes.
Not even being aware of it because it's just chipping away at their bank account without knowing. So it's important that you do an audit on how much your scribes are costing. For example, if it's $80 per user, actually all your...
That adds up quickly. That's $400. You got 5 clinicians a month. Yeah.
It is. And that eats your bottom line, as you know.
It's $5,000.
That's $5,000 a year. So, and how much profit is that? So I think it's important time now, given that the maturity of the scribes, to weigh up other options you may consider, or just look at how you're using it, or maybe you need to readdress these issues in your team.
Yeah.
Because it's not as simple as, I'm just going to subscribe everyone to $80 per month, knowing that only 20% use it. Yeah. Which is a waste of money.
I'm going to wrap up with my favorite phrase, which is that I think using AI purely for voice to text is like taking a Lamborghini to a milk bar. You have one of the best resources you could possibly imagine, and there is so much more we can be doing with AI than simply scribing. And I think some of the things Cliniscribe is doing is pretty amazing, and looking at that from the future of physiotherapy and changing how we do things. I'm very, very aware of how much time you've given me, Barry. I'm really appreciative of that. I know you're super busy between your clinics and building out this stuff and working with your developers and everything that you do. Do you have any other things you'd like to say to viewers before we sign off?
Yeah, I'd like to bring it back on you, Shane. So how do you feel the future of business coaches will be in this AI era for people like
good
yourself?
question. Good question. I think most people, my expectation is people are probably using ChatGPT, and I've got no qualms with that. I'd rather they used it, but we know, like I know from using it, that if you prompt it a certain way, it'll tell you this, and if you prompt it the other way, it'll tell you that. So it doesn't actually help you make that fork in the road decision. And I think that's one of my strengths as a coach, is actually going, right, well, what's the vision for the practice to begin with? Can we get as much information as possible about what this practice wants to do? And then can you make that decision rather than have the technology telling you? So it's still a very, very useful tool for us. It's a brilliant tool for doing analytics and this type of stuff if you really want to. One of its weaknesses, unfortunately, is mathematics and finance. We have to be very, very clear about that. If you are using AI tools like ChatGPT for your financials, there is a risk that you are going to have, because small errors multiply out pretty substantially. If you make small financial errors, you can really lose sight of what's happening. I think, unfortunately, that has always been my strength, is numbers. It's one of the reasons I've always run highly profitable practices, and I help people with that, because learning to thread those numbers together and understand it's really critical. Will AI replace business coaches? Absolutely, it should. It's probably replaced 80% of coaches out there right now, because if all people are doing is giving cookie cutter solutions, I'm sorry, but there's technology that can do that. With complexity, like physiotherapy clinics that, service multiple different streams, and the way we talk to our therapists, I don't think AI knows how to talk to a physio, because most of us don't know how to talk to young physios. We're still learning. How do we get this stuff across to them?
Absolutely.
And through. I think there's still a massive human component behind how we run our businesses, just as there is around how we interact with our patients, because fundamentally these are human skills. It's people in your business and people who come to see your business.
Great answer.
Thanks, mate.
Nice.
Awesome. We'll wrap up here. Thanks again for joining us on the Culture of One YouTube channel, and we'll catch up again real soon, Barry. Cheers, mate.
See you, man. Thank you.